So, great news, everyone. It seems like everyone is in jubilation, celebrating that the J.J. Kelvin Timeline has been canceled. What a big celebration. What are we left with? Spore drives, Kling orcs, cartoons, senile old Picard scooting around in his Professor X wheelchair, lower decks, slapstick comedy. I mean, really? I actually liked the Kelvin Timeline. There's so many things they could have done with it, and there was some mistakes made. I think the main mistake was after Star Trek Into Darkness. In that movie, there was a prime opportunity to not make Star Trek Beyond and just go into the next movie with the war with the Klingons. That is exactly what I thought was going to happen. In Star Trek Into Darkness, they go to Kronos. A dozen humans land on the Ketha province, kill 24 Klingons, blast 3 patrol craft out of the sky. They are humans, and they are Klingons, and they didn't look like Kling orcs. At least the JJ movie had enough respect to make Klingons look like Klingons. Yes, the one we saw was bald. He had some earrings, looked a little bit different, but for the most part, it was a Klingon. So honestly, I thought with all the upheaval, with taking down Axanar, I thought the next movie would be Star Trek Darkness Falls, or Star Trek Darkness, or something along those lines, where the next movie would have been the war with the Klingons. Because think about what the Klingon High Council would do if a dozen or so humans waltzed onto their planet, killed 2 squads of Klingon warriors, and shot down 3 of their patrol craft. It wouldn't take long for them to send an armada to attack the Federation. Not out of aggression, but out of retaliation. And honestly, that's what I thought the third Kelvin Timeline movie was going to be. A representation or a version, because it is an alternate timeline, of the war with the Klingons. Maybe it wasn't going to be 4 years. Maybe it was going to be a short, brief conflict. It could have been anything. And it could have been better. But instead we got Star Trek Beyond. And yes, it was a hiccup. Some people liked it. Some people hated it. I personally didn't like it because I was expecting a movie about war with the Klingons. Because in the backstory of Star Trek Into Darkness, apparently Section 31 destroyed the Klingon moon of Praxis. And apparently that's why it is literally crashed against Kronos. So the Klingons aren't stupid. They know somebody blew up their moon. If it was Praxis, maybe it was a different moon. I don't know. I haven't really went into the comics that detail, but from what I have heard, apparently in the comics, John Harrison was sent by Admiral Marcus with the transbeaming device, beamed to that Klingon moon, sent demolition charges. I don't know if it was him or a Section 31 squad, but they were the one that destroyed that moon and crashed it into Kronos. So I was definitely expecting the third movie to be War with the Klingons, but it wasn't. They just ignored the first two movies and did a reboot of the reboots. And this can kind of be attributed to J.J. Abrams, who likes to start mystery boxes and then leave. He did it to Star Trek. He left basically halfway through Into Darkness. Then he went to Star Wars. He made The Force Awakens, which was a recycled of New Hope, which was okay. And then we got The Last Jedi. So, I mean, I don't understand. J.J. Abrams starts good storylines that seems like they're going in a good direction, even though all movies aren't perfect. The Force Awakens wasn't perfect. Star Trek Into Darkness wasn't perfect, but overall they were good movies that left a very good opening for a sequel movie. But I guess when you're making millions and millions of dollars, it doesn't really matter that you're pleasing the fans. It just matters that you're going to be a billionaire. I guess that's just how things goes. But even after that, instead of just Paramount abandoning the Kelvin Timeline, they could have made the fourth movie A War with the Klingons or the Romulans. They could have done something besides just cancel it because Chris Pine wasn't going to be in it. Okay, Chris Pine isn't going to be in it, fine. Write him out of the script. Make him die somehow. Or if the other actors don't want to be in it, just have them go somewhere else, get transferred to other ships, and continue on. Bring new actors in. Anything is better than this shit that CBS is putting out. Like some kid animation that looks like The Simpsons is going to be a Star Trek cartoon. Wow, that's exciting. Can't wait for that one. Lower Decks. What is that going to be about? Is it going to be Big Bang series on a starship? Friends on a starship? Comedy on a starship in Star Trek. I don't know. I think I would rather have a fourth Kelvin Timeline movie. That if Paramount could pull their heads out of their ass and just listen to the fans and make a movie that the fans want to see, that would have been 100 times better than what CBS is giving us. Honestly, to me, Star Trek has officially died because the only hope I had was for the Kelvin Timeline to recover from beyond, just like the original movies did after Star Trek 5. They made one of the best Star Trek 6, and After the motion picture, they made The Wrath of Khan. So there was two duds in the original motion picture era that were followed by two of the best Star Trek movies ever, The Wrath of Khan and The Final Frontier. So just because Star Trek Beyond was a flop, so to say, apparently on the box office, doesn't mean they couldn't come back with a home run. You can make a good movie with a small budget, just like they did with Wrath of Khan. Almost half the budget of Star Trek the Motion Picture, and Wrath of Khan was the best Star Trek movie in all of Star Trek movies. But apparently CBS has gobbled up, strong-armed Paramount with their little tricks and their little CBS games, Monopoly, and now the Kelvin movies will no longer go because they can't make a movie in the time frame allotted by CBS, and since they can't make the movie in that time frame, the Kelvin Timeline is done. It's not that Paramount quit, it's that CBS made them quit. So to me, this is a very disappointing day in my Star Trek fandom for all my Star Trek, and to just realize that we are left with CBS pulling the strings. I can officially say Star Trek is dead. I didn't want to be negative, but sorry, it is negative now. So there you go. I'm sure everybody is hopeful that Old Man Picard will make a great series, but I really hope I am surprised and I am wrong. I hope CBS does make a good Picard series, but I really am not holding my breath. And it's just to the point that might as well lower the casket, put up the tombstone, and just enjoy the memorials we have for the past Treks. Because the new CBS Trek, it's a zombie. It is a walking Star Trek zombie. It is not alive. It is dead. Even though it's walking around and it has Star Trek written all over it, it's still dead. So, unless that zombie somehow springs to life and gives us good materials and good episodes, which honestly, I have seen so many pitches for so many shows that it's almost become a farce. So you can either look at the CBS version of Star Trek as a zombie or a clown. Either way, that's not my Star Trek. So unless that clown, that CBS clown, or that CBS zombie can bring back good Trek, I'm saying Star Trek has officially died, with the last hope of the Kelvin Timeline being canceled, not because of Paramount, but because of CBS. So my hope meter for Star Trek has bottomed out. I can't watch any more reviews on how these animated series are going to be so good about how the Picard show is going to be great, about how Lower Decks is going to be a funny Seinfeld sitcom on a starship, a cargo freighter, or a Oberth, or whatever fucking ship they put them on. My hope is gone, but it'll still be there, even though my hope is about the size of an ant. So I hope this isn't an obituary, but it might be. If this is an obituary, rest in peace, Star Trek. Rest in peace, Kelvin Timeline. Because resurrection is not likely.